Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pooja. I'm an integrative nutritionist and I work with women who have hormonal issues. And today I'm going to tell you how to reduce your stress. Stress has been one of the important factors which I had told you in my previous video has always been highlighted in chronic diseases. So when anybody points out that you have a chronic issue, then they always say reduce your stress and that will help you to improve your condition. So how do we reduce the stress? Because we know that stress is going to be there. We cannot do anything about it. It is a part of our lifestyle. We need to do things and that actually makes it stressful for us anyway. So how is it that in our current lifestyle we do certain things which can actually reduce the stress for you? So from our previous episode we understood that stress, if it becomes chronic, can actually really cause a lot of problems, in the sense that when stress hormones get released, the main three hormones that get released are cortisol, adrenaline and neuroepinephrine. These are the three stress hormones which get released when it picks up some sort of threat which is there outside in the environment. And what it does is that it activates your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight and your flight response. And in which case what happens is that your breathing becomes very shallow and short, your heart rate goes up, there is more blood running in your body, and you have high insulin levels in your body, your reproduction shuts down, your digestion shuts down and your immunity shuts down. So now you are in a fight and flight response. Now the opposite to that is your parasympathetic nervous system, which actually is completely opposite to this, which is where your reproduction blooms. You want to reproduce, so your reproduction actually starts working really well. The second thing that happens is that your immunity improves because they feel that yes, the stress is not there, so we can now start working on our systems which can protect us from any bacterial or viral infections. The third thing that gets activated is your digestion, because your digestion needs a very stress-free environment, so it starts working better for you. So if you see how the system works, is there is a sympathetic nervous system and there is parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system activates your fight and flight response, and then parasympathetic nervous system activates your rest, digestion and reproduction. So this is what we want. We want more of the parasympathetic nervous system to be activated and less of the sympathetic nervous system to be active. So now our main job is to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, because we've understood that when we switch that system on, then we know that reproduction is going to happen really well. So what do we do? How do we actually activate this? Now I cannot change my heart rate. I cannot tell my body to stop producing so much insulin. I don't want it. I cannot tell that please switch on my digestion, because it has already gone into a sympathetic nervous system mode, which is fight and flight response. How do I actually tell the body that I want to go into my parasympathetic nervous system? The way you can do this is by controlling your breath, because that's the only thing that is in your control. If you change the way you are breathing, you can change the message that you're giving to your body that everything outside is fine. So instead of taking short breaths, which is what you do when you're in a fight and flight response, how about you start taking deeper breaths, long breaths, and that will tell the body immediately that now she's breathing absolutely fine, she's taking long breaths. That means that there is no threat outside. And once the body picks up that message, the heart rate is going to slow down and your parasympathetic nervous system will get activated. So breathing is your mantra. Breathing is through which you can control your stress. When I read a lot of articles on how to reduce stress, usually they'll say you should start meditation or you start meditating. But I actually quite not agree with this, because meditation, if your mind is full of stress and it is running here, there and everywhere, you are thinking about lots of things, emotionally you are disturbed, then how would you actually meditate? Because in meditation you are asked to concentrate on having no thought. So how would you do that? Because as soon as you'll close your eyes and sit in meditation, your body is going to revolt and it's not going to like it, it's going to say, I don't like this, and there are so many different types of thoughts that are coming to my head, and how do I do this? So instead of thinking of meditation, the best way to calm your mind and improve your mental health or emotional health and activate your parasympathetic nervous system is by breathing. Breathing is an easy technique that is available to you free of charge, which you, once you incorporate that in your life, can elevate your stress and really bring vitality to your life. So how does breathing work? Like, why is it that taking long deep breaths will actually improve your parasympathetic nervous system? Basically, your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digestion, actually sits somewhere here in your belly. So when you start taking belly breaths, what happens is that you activate your vagus nerve. Vagus nerve is a nerve, a thick nerve, which actually connects your stomach to your brain. And the serotonin that you produce in your gut, which I explained to you in my last episode, actually gets transferred from this vagus nerve up to your brain. So when you stimulate this vagus nerve, you can do it by breathing techniques. When you breathe and you take deep belly breaths, your vagus nerve gets stimulated. Once the vagus nerve starts getting stimulated, then it starts sending the right message to the brain, and then it starts sending the serotonin that you're producing in your gut back into the brain, and then you start feeling calmer, happier, and just vital in general. So your parasympathetic nervous system sits somewhere here, and it is vitally dependent on your vagus nerve. And if you see any kind of deep breathing techniques like pranayam, they usually do a lot of belly breathing, and this is where everything is sitting. Your vagus nerve is sitting here, which gets stimulated when you're doing deep breaths. The second thing which is very important when you're taking deep breaths is the diaphragm. There is a diaphragm which actually has no nerve cells. So you cannot really feel it, but it sits like this in just above the abdomen. And this diaphragm actually has two really important roles. One, it actually maintains a balance in your body. And the second thing is that it is an amazing detoxifying agent. So excess estrogen, excess stress hormones building up in your body, actually you don't need to do anything. If you just start activating your diaphragm, you will start detoxifying your body automatically. And how do you activate your diaphragm? You activate your diaphragm by taking belly breaths. So when you take deep long breaths, which you feel in your tummy, that is when your diaphragm, which is usually sitting like this, like a cone, like this it sits. And usually when it is like this, then your flight and fright response is active. You are also doing only chest breathing, and this is in this shape. When you take deep breaths, you push this diaphragm down and it becomes straight. And when it becomes straight, then it starts acting as a detoxifying agent and also activates your parasympathetic nervous system. So this is the beauty of your diaphragm. And if you are not using your diaphragm to do your belly breaths, then you are never going to be activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is what we want. We want our reproduction to flourish. We want our female hormones to flourish. We don't want stress hormones in our body. And to only be able to do this is by activating your diaphragm. Now you would notice that when you are taking shallow breaths, when you're stressed, you hold your breath, and when you hold your breath, your diaphragm goes like that. It becomes a cone shape and it's holding, and the breathing is only happening over here. And this is where your sympathetic nervous system gets activated and your stress hormones start getting released. You need to flatten this diaphragm, and then once you do that, then you know that you are activating your parasympathetic nervous system. Breathing correctly is very important, and my guru says that dhima, lamba, gehra saans. That is what activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Dhima means slow, gehra means deep, and lamba means long. So long, deep, and slow breathing will activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Also, there's a difference between inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation activates your sympathetic nervous system, and exhalation activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which means that when you are exhaling, your exhalation should be much more longer than your inhalation. And that is what you would always see in pranayam. When yogis teach you the right way of breathing, they will always say, exhalation, please make it longer. So today I'm going to be talking about some basics of how to breathe correctly. and how to use this to your advantage, because most of us actually do not even know how to do the right belly breathing. So the first rule to doing the right kind of belly breathing is you can do this. You can actually keep your hand over here on your chest and on your tummy, and then when you start breathing, so when you breathe in, your stomach should go out, and when you breathe out, which is when you exhale, your stomach should go in. And when you inhale, you should feel that your stomach is going out. And it's incredible how many people do it the wrong way. I used to do it the wrong way. So when I was breathing in, my stomach used to actually go in, and then slowly, by doing it mindfully, I figured out that I was doing it the wrong way, and I started practicing it in the right way. And that's when my stomach actually started expanding, because the air is going in, so technically your stomach should actually expand. And then when you are taking the breath out, it should contract, and then it should go in. That is the first rule of breathing correctly. And you also should need to feel the breath in your belly. You should know that, okay, you should actually visualize that you're actually taking the breath into your tummy, and that is when, by practice, you will be able to do this correctly. The second rule is, how do you actually breathe? I've got a little glass over here just to give you a little explanation to this. This is how we're going to breathe. So when we breathe, now if you see this, when we pour this water into this glass, first the bottom gets filled, and then it fills your top, which is basically your tummy will get filled first, and then the chest will fill up. But when you're going to empty the glass, or you empty your body from the air, then it will go from the top to bottom. So your exhalation will exhale first from your chest and then from your tummy. So this is a nice analogy to use to basically figure out that you're doing this correctly or not. So when you breathe in, that's when as soon as you breathe in, first your stomach should expand, and then when you exhale, this should go first out, and then in the end your stomach should contract. So that is the analogy you will use to make sure that you're breathing correctly. And to just take few breaths in a day can really help you to activate your vagus nerve and also your parasympathetic nervous system. So yes, breathing correctly, just keeping three things in mind, that when you're breathing, you have to engage your belly. When you're deep breathing, the breath has to be long, deep and slow. The third thing that you have to remember is that your exhalation has to be longer than your inhalation. Once you put these three things in place, you will be breathing correctly, and it can make a huge difference to your life. I will be doing a full series on pranayam, where I will be teaching you the right techniques. I will be teaching at least 4 to 5 different types of breathing techniques, which can then improve your hormonal issues naturally. But that will be coming up very soon. In the meanwhile, you can always watch any of these YouTube videos that are out there. There are breath coaches these days. Science has understood the meaning of how breath work can actually change the whole way in which your body operates. They have understood now that mitochondrial health is the most important aspects of wellness, and that comes through breath work. So there are breath coaches these days, breath specialists, who actually teach you the right way to breathe. And there's a lot of work going on in the West at the moment on pranayam and breath work. So just follow some of these YouTubers who are there, who can teach you the right way of breathing, and just incorporate 5 to 10 minutes of this in your life, and it will make you make a huge difference to your life. Small issues like asthma, sinus, just general congestion in your body, that can just evaporate within months. And hormonal issues, again, if you're looking at what actually makes the huge impact on balancing your hormones, then if you have to choose between yoga, pranayam or meditation, then breath work or pranayam is actually the main aspect of it, which actually really helps in balancing the hormones. And above all, the best thing that you get through pranayam or doing the right kind of breath work is that it clears your head completely. You become a completely different person. You have an amazing amount of clarity in your life. You don't have any confusion. Your productivity goes up, your energy levels goes up, your vitality goes up. You're generally just happy just by doing the right kind of breath work. If you observe any child which is under the age of 5, then you would see that they actually do the breathing absolutely correctly. They take belly breaths. That is when you see how joyful they are, how happy they are, how uninhibited they are. They have no complexity in their life. They're just breathing the correct way. But then as they start growing up and we start telling them, behave this way, sit this way, eat this way, you know, they lose that intuition that they have with their bodies. And then when the pressures come along as they grow up, the breathing changes. They start doing more chest breathing and not belly breathing. So if you want to go back to the same vitality, energy and joyfulness that you had when you were small, then breathing right in the right way would really help. What is happening is that we are getting into this loop where of getting stuck in that fight and flight response, and we are not able to come out of it. And body actually is the most resilient and most vital when it has the capacity to switch between sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system very quickly. And that happens when you engage your belly and you engage your parasympathetic nervous system, and the body knows how to calm down by changing its breathing pattern. So by breathing, you will be able to engage your parasympathetic nervous system, and you will be able to switch as soon as there's stress in your life, or you feel anxious, or you feel confused, or you feel, oh, I can't, you know, think straight, and I'm again having that panic attack that I had. Just take a moment and start taking the deep breaths into your belly. 3 consecutive long, deep and slow breaths can switch your body into parasympathetic nervous system, and see how calm you become and how clear-headed you become after doing that. So this was my mantra. Use breath work to reduce your stress. Once the stress goes down, then automatically you will see that your hormones will come back into balance. And it is not only for PCOD but for any other hormonal issues, general health and well-being, pranayam is the way to go. If you have any questions regarding this video, please by all means put them down on the comment section and I'll be happy to help. If you feel this video might be helpful to any of your friends who might take advantage of this, then please by all means share this video with them and do them a favor, because this is something that if the more we share with other people in terms of how simple this technique is and how effective this is, the better it would be. I keep uploading new videos every week, so please subscribe to my channel if you really wanted to stay connected, and please press the bell icon, because that will tell you whenever my new video is up, and that will really help. So I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thank you.